Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Kyle, for those of you that are new here. Today I've got a really special video to share with you guys all about the Red CJ-8 Scrambler here that you see in front of you. Obviously this is a micro scrambler. It's an RC crawler truck. This truck was built for my grandpa Toby Kelly, who has a Red Jeep Scrambler that looks very, very similar to this one. The whole point of this build was to match his one-to-one Scrambler. And that's what we're going to show you today, is everything about this build. To give you a little backstory on the Scrambler and how we got to this point where we're at now is my grandpa, he was the one that got our whole family started into Jeeps. I believe, I don't know if it was his dad or his grandpa also had a Jeep, but there's a lot of Jeep generations in my family, and my son is now crazy addict for Jeeps as well. So he's passed his love for Jeeps down to all of us, and now we're all crazy addicted to them. So when I first got into the RC crawlers, it was because of one of my grandpa's friends who had a little Jeep RC up at the Silver Lake Sand Dunes, was playing around with it, had a great time, and I was hooked after that. So we bought our own, we bought a Gladiator, we bought a Wrangler, and it's been history since then. Now, as you can see behind me, I've got a lot of 24 scale crawlers, some 18 scale, 10th. We even have a 6 scale now. So because of my grandpa and his friends got me into the RC thing, I was able to now come up with this idea to make this. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into what this build is and what I did for this project for my grandpa. So for starters, he's going to get it in this Apache 2800 case. When you open it up, that's what it's going to look like. Now, in the process of building this truck, this Jeep, we've accumulated some other parts here and there. He's got another set of tires and wheels that are going to be more for performance, but also give a really cool scale look. He's got another set of tires and wheels that are more of a scale look. They look very similar to what you're going to see on the Jeep, but these don't have brass inserts. He's got a charger, some spare paint for touch-ups, red, black, and silver. He's got a takeoff from the original controller. I threw in a little duck and a penguin, classic signature thing for me. Had some leftover paracord. Some of the spare parts from the body kit, some tools, all the stickers that came with everything, some stock wheel inserts, and then a bunch of spare screws and parts for the build. So let's go ahead and take it out of the box here. Take the cover off. You'll see he's got a little battery. This is actually one of my batteries. His is on charge right now, but he's going to have another smaller stock Spectrum battery. We needed it to be as thin as possible, and you'll see why. He'll be having the FlySky GT5, where my buddy Travis Lind 3D printed this thumb steer wheel, and then I did a Jeep lanyard. And then the paracord that you saw he has leftover from, that's the paracord to be able to have it longer for a lanyard. And then Mason Trout 3D printed these little Jeep badges, which are super cool. I thought that was kind of a cool touch with the lanyard. So that is his transmitter. And then the Jeep itself. We'll show some details of that in just a moment. And then last but not least, he's got a stock scx24 axial charger if he needs just a USB on the go. We chose to give him the other charger as well because they're more reliable, they're safer, they will charge a lot faster. These have known to stop working, or in some instances I've seen some people, I personally don't know them, but I've seen some people online talk about how theirs have caught fire. So that's why we have the other charger as well. So let's go over this build. So what we started with here was the WT Micro C8 Brute body. Now that came with the body, all of the little small trim pieces that you see, the roll bar, the hard top, it came with the sliders, and that's pretty much it. Now this body is 3D printed. It's pretty durable. We did have one small issue with the 3D printed body, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. We've got the Cooper Discover STP or STT Pro tires wrapped on some FMS K10 wheels. They gave me the closest appearance to what my grandpa is actually running on his actual Jeep. I had a buddy, Greg, from Reaction RC paint this body for me because he does phenomenal work and he blew this one out of the park as well. I know the camera doesn't show just how red it is. It looks more orange, but in person, this thing it's a candy red apple or candy apple red color. And with the black and the silver to match my grandpa's 1-to-1, it looks so good. Now the body is held on with Velcro up front and then it's hinged in the back. It's sitting on top of the Endura LCG carbon fiber chassis. We're running the Pro Line big bore shocks, the longer, I think they're like 50 something millimeter shocks with 35 weight oil in them. Inside of here, you'll see we've got the FuriTech Micro Komodo and the FuriTech Stellar transmission using the FuriTech Lizard Pro ESC with Bluetooth and the FlySky Micro GT5 receiver. Now it looks like a little bit of a mess in here, and the reason for that is I wanted to do this build and knock it out of the park with everything that makes it outside look functionally like scale. So I had to have the lights. The lights my buddy Travis did for me and he killed it. The lights look so good. We tried to put the wire loom to cover up the wires and clean them up, as you can see some of the other items down inside. But by the time you did that, when everything shuts, it's too big and bulky, it makes the body sit up. So we had to remove that, hence why you see it kind of looks like a little bit of a wiring mess in here, but there's just not a lot of room when the interior of this thing sits so low and so close to everything. We could have just as easily removed the interior and then you have all sorts of space for cables and everything, but then you're gonna see all of that. And I love how the inside you can see the seats, the dash, the steering wheel. It looks scale. So that's why we decided to leave the inside not as clean, but the best that we could pretty much do with the setup that we have. We switched the motor. We had the motor originally facing the rear. Caused a little bit more issues with finding a place to mount the battery and getting it secured. So now for my grandpa, just to make it simple, he can reach the switch on the ESC, just puts the battery in the stock location with the Velcro, pushes the body down and runs it. He's not competing with this thing, but he did want some of the best parts. So that's why you see what you see in here. We're running a Reefs Micro 99. He's got stock front axle, stock rear axle, running Endura steering linkage. We're running the Ramp Crab servo mount, which was needed to be able to clear the front grille. I've got this thing sitting back so far. It's insane how far back this servo is sitting. I actually mounted the servo the opposite direction on the back side of the mount just to be able to get it tucked enough to clear that front grille. When I close it, you can see we're running Trio steel drive shafts with the Endura reversible skid plate. The reversible skid plate was nice when we decided that we were going to swap the motor around. That was super easy. Beyond that, that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and throw this battery in here and show you guys how this thing runs. So he's just going to put the battery in like so, grab the connector, stuff his cables down in here, and then Velcro holds it on, and it looks so clean and so flush. As you can see, those skids to the body those sliders to the body. Just super clean. Oh, one last thing I forgot to mention, we are running rubber bands for limit straps on all 4 corners. That's why you see limited travel. These things can flex a bunch when it needs to, but otherwise this hard body really wants to unload up front and in the rear, depending on the hill situation. And then, like I said, if I can kind of show you, it's hard to see. You can see the servo arm, or the steering linkage arm, how close it is to the grill. So the servo horn is right behind there. It was so close to that front grill, but by the time this thing turns, that's as close as it gets. All right, let's grab his transmitter and do some runs with it. Now, something I didn't mention before is that on this radio, or on this transmitter, the lights have a switch. So the headlights, marker lights, and tail lights all come on all at the same time. And they're selectable with this channel 3 switch. The other thing I wanted to mention too is we're going to make some runs here. I'm not going to do the entire course for Gates because this isn't a competition vehicle and I really don't want to wreck his paint. But I'll run a few of these lines. The thing I wanted to mention is I'm going to do some lines with these scale tires and wheels, and we can compare them to his more performance tires and wheels. So we'll try a couple different things here. We'll try to slow crawl some stuff. These tires, they're so firm. Give it a little bump here. As you can see, these tires, they're just not super grippy. They look great, but performance-wise, I'd like to see a little bit more traction. Because clearly, this truck crawls really well. And for those of you that don't really know what that noise is, my supervisor during this entire project, come on up here. Come on up. Can you wave hi to the camera? Say hi, guys. Say hi, Papa. Is that Papa's Jeep? Is that Papa's Jeep? Hey, who's on Daddy's shirt? Who is that? Who is it? Come on. Really? As you can see, my grandpa has a racing version of his trail riding Scrambler as well. So Aspen's helped me along with this project, haven't you? you helped me put this together. You worked on the wheels, and you worked on all the suspension. Yeah. These tires struggle. Struggle to get grip in certain places. Now, something I think that's worth mentioning is when I said that he wanted some of the best parts that are available, you can see, like I said, we're running stock front and rear axles. I could have just as easily gone with like some Little Guy Racing Parts Super 8 axles or the Mias isokinetic axles or a plethora of other options, but everything pretty much that wasn't stock is wider. Yes, I can get metal housings for the front and rear, but it was additional cost that I didn't really feel was necessary for his build because the stock ones look just as good as I think as the metal housings. He's not doing this as a competition rig, so he doesn't need the extra weight. So stock axles, I think, will do him just fine. Now, in the future, if he wants more steering or if he wants to do better crawling with it, then he can choose to upgrade the axles to like the Mias isokinetic axles. That's what I run in most of my competition rigs, and they're very, very helpful. But for a scale rig, I just run stock axles. I don't see any other reason not to. Okay, so now that we've run these scale tires and wheels, I think we should pop the performance tires and wheels on, and we'll talk about them and show you guys how well they do. Something I also didn't mention before too, just the extra scale look. We have the Warren hubs, front hubs. The rear just has the wheel nuts. The fronts have the locking hubs. Obviously they're not functional, they're just a scale look, but I thought those were pretty cool as well. Now the more performance tires and wheels that he has, we've got the WT Micro slotted wheels with the RCS, I believe, hardware, scale hardware in black. And we're wrapping around those the Bravin Berserker tires. I'm running stock foams in these things, so inserts might help, but for now, these things, they look super killer and they perform a lot better than the FMS stock C10 or this FMS stock K10 tires and wheels with the STT Pro tires. So let's see how these things do. We've got a spectator here. Can you say hi, Aspen? People are probably going to kill me for seeing you on the ladder like that, but now these tires are a little bit more narrow and they're slightly smaller. But they should have more grip. They don't on that really loose, dusty rock. We have some monster trucks we gotta watch out for here now. Am I running into Gravedigger? Oh, we're gonna drive over top of Gravedigger. Well, right there, that was huge improvement. Careful. You okay? All right, we're going to do the same line here we did last time. Made it through the V-notch. All right, guys, I think that's going to about do it for me with this CJ-8 Scrambler build. I hope my grandpa really enjoys it. Grandpa, I hope you know how much love and passion that Aspen and I have put into building this thing and getting it to where it's at. Sorry for the few scratches that we put into it, testing it and getting it tweaked and tuned to where it's going to do pretty good for you. I hope to see plenty of photos and videos of this thing being actually ran and taken to maybe some Jeep shows this summer. Thank you guys for watching, and there's going to be more videos like this coming soon. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. And if you're not already, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.